I think last week.
Good evening, councillors, officers, and welcome to the members of the public that are here and possibly online. Could I remind you, please switch off your mobile phones and put it silent. There are members of the public and press attending virtually. Can I ask those attending virtually to switch off your microphone to avoid any disruption to the meeting? This meeting is being recorded and will be available in due course on the council's YouTube channel. And can I just thank Petrop for sorting out the IT issues before the beginning of this meeting very efficiently, so we've actually got the IT working again. So reminder to councillors to ensure that those attending virtually can hear the proceeding and for the recording to capture the entire meeting, please ensure that you wait for the microphone and speak clearly into the microphone. Please be aware it is a formal meeting and therefore do not refer to councillors or officers by their first name. When addressing council, please stand if you are able to do so. There is no fire alarm planned, therefore upon hearing a constant two-tone alarm, please leave the building by your nearest marked fire exit and make your way down the stairs to the nearest assembly point, which is the Shortsgate car park. Lifts are not to be used. Please do not take time to pick up personal belongings and leave the building promptly. Please be aware that the contents displayed on your iPad or laptop may be seen by others or members of the public attending the meeting. Therefore, please close down the screens which are displaying confidential information during the public part of the meeting. And can I also mention that the ladies' toilets are now downstairs. So any ladies wishing to use the toilet, if you don't want to go downstairs, may I suggest that you use the accessible toilet. Thank you. So if I can start with Molly's recipe.
Chair, I have apologies from councillors Denton, Hunt, Lovering and Quinn.
Thank you. Item 2 to approve as the correct record the minutes of the meetings held on the 16th of July 2025 and the 27th of August 2025. I can have a Councillor Warden, Seconder, Councillor Maskell, all those in favour? Against? Any abstentions? Thank you. Item 3, Chair's announcements. I would like to welcome Councillor Josh Rutty to his first meeting of council. Welcome, Josh. I would like to also bring the following to your attention. We have got a lot of people who are very, very behind on their box fish training. And having just seen the training we've just been given by the police, it is very, very important that everybody does fish, because some of the training we've just been given has been covered in box fish. So you could, if you've done that, you can sit there and go, I know about that. I also have a list here of people who are still doing some mandatory training and non-mandatory training as well that they said they will catch up on. I'm not going to read it out tonight, but if there is anybody that is still outstanding at the next full council meeting, I will be reading your names out. So yourself.
I don't mind. My allergies for the next meeting.
Okay, moving on to I've got more things. There is LGA peer review. Some members will have received notifications from our LGA peers for meetings or various things. Please can you accept these meetings as soon as possible. Thank you. Yes, and if
I can just comment on that. Because of the impending local government reorganisation, lots of councils across the country are asking for their peer reviews to not take place. We've taken the opposite view to that. I think that it's really useful to have a peer review in advance of everything. So I would really stress the importance of members' engagement in the process. And if you have got an invite to sit down with a peer team, then please take advantage of it. We've told the peer team when they come in, They're to take us as they find us. We're not papering over any cracks. We've given them, presenting them a completely honest and transparent view of the council. And I'd really like that to be reflected as well in the meetings that they have with members, so that we get a good, honest report, which should hold us in good stead going into MGR. So if we do get that invite, please take advantage of it. Thanks.
And lastly, before we get started on the full agenda, I'm asking if we're happy to move item 16 to before item 14 on the agenda. Yeah. Councillor Ward to move. Can I have a second, please? Councillor Clayton. All those in favour? Against? Any abstentions? Thank you. It's appreciated. I'd now like to invite Mrs. Walker to come up and talk to us about and ask her question. We have all received your question in advance, so if you would like to just ask Councillor Knight for his response and then ask any supplementaries, you are more than welcome to do so.
Right. Question to Ricky Knight. Protect the population from the dangers in the sky. The Nuremberg Code attached states that people must not be subjected to experimentation.
Point of order, Chair. We've got the question in front of us. I thought we were just getting an answer at the secretary.
Mrs. Walker, she wants to read the question, or whether she does need to.
To be subjected to experimentation without their explicit consent. Bearing this in mind and the health and well-being of North Devon residents that you are bound to protect, why are you allowing the geoengineering spraying of the North Devon skies with questionable substances without the consent of local people? Who authorised this, and when was the local consultation to establish the safety of these substances? What North Devon District Council Emergency Committee can address this?
Councillor Ricky Knight.
We need the every on.
So, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mrs. Walker, for this question. Vote's going, I'm afraid it's emotional. I thank you also for reminding us of the Nuremberg Code, all 10 points, which we can all, everyone in this room, will concur with. Okay, with regard to the geoengineering of North Devon residents, in your question, I can categorically put your mind at rest that this is not happening either here or anywhere else in the UK. That is not to say that geoengineering or cloud seeding, it's often confused with, is not being debated and considered at the highest level as a method of addressing climate change in terms of carbon dioxide removal, CDR, and particularly with regard to agriculture and crop yields. But as said, not in the UK. From the point of view of the UK government, the whole issue must be subject to international regulation. Just that, there must be principles which we are not bound to anymore, but nonetheless, there must be principles identify geoengineering as a potential violation of state obligations to protect the rights of future generations. This in itself should be enough to reassure you that there is no way geoengineering, or as you write, the dangers in the sky, can be taking place in the UK. So as such, with reference to your further questions, no one at NDC has authorised geoengineering to take place here, and therefore there was no need for a public consultation. Lastly, although all officers and councillors take part in emergency training, There is no specific North Devon Council Emergency Committee. In conclusion, thank you for attending this meeting. With your questions, I urge you, if you don't mind, to engage with some of the reams of online information on the science behind geoengineering. It has more than likely been tried out in some countries, but certainly not in ours.
Can I ask again? There are a number of patents.
I'm sorry, can I just start and say, if you would like to ask a supplementary question, please can you keep it to a question?
Yeah. Would you be able to look into the fact that there are many, many patents, particularly USA patents, which are examples of what's going on? And the British patents, I can't actually get hold of those without paying for each one, I believe. So access to that would have been helpful. But if you could look into that, and also Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s remarks.
Yes.
Thank you for that reference. Yeah. I spent quite a lot of time researching this, but I've got to keep my answers short. That's why I asked you, suggested that you looked at it online. It goes on forever, it's true. But I concentrated on HMG's response to it. And the fact is, you're right, it's happening. I did allude to that, but I didn't want to mention countries. It is happening elsewhere. It's just, it's not happening here. And that's because the UK government, both nations, yes, have refused to introduce geoengineering or cloud seeding even. That's not to say it might not come in the future, but I'm certainly aware of, I haven't read about the patents, but I know they exist because there's money to be made. Yeah. I hope that's sufficient an answer for you.
Do you want to look at the paperwork?
By all means, I'll take a copy. Yeah, by all means, and thank you for your input. Okay.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 5, replies to any questions submitted. Item 6, to consider motions of which notice has been submitted by members in accordance with Part 4, Council Procedures or paragraph 11 of the Constitution. We have received none. Item 7, there are declarations of interest.
Chair, I do have one declaration of interest from Councillor Lever in relation to item 14 of the agenda.
It's a non-registrable interest in relation to the Joint Planning Committee. He is likely to be commissioned by Forest District Council to prepare a technical assessment on part of the application.
Councillor Caroline Lever.
Thank you, Chair. Similarly, I'd like to declare an interest in item 4 with relation to the interest declared by my husband. I'm not sure exactly what kind of interest that is, but I will obviously bring it on the Joint Planning Committee if indeed his company was or he was contracted to do work for the developer.
Thank you. Item 8, Chair's replies to any questions by council members submitted under Part 4, Council Procedure or paragraph 10 of the Constitution. We have received none. Item 9, to agree the agenda between Part A and Part B. There is no Part B. So we move into Part A. So item 10, the report of the Legal Council. Councillor Clayton.
Thank you, Chair. When you read my report, you probably thought, wow, what's up with Clayton? That's an interesting report, very eloquent. It's because I had a chance to go on holiday at the last moment, and Councillor Lever said he'd fill in for me. And he said, does that mean I can write your report? I said, absolutely, you can write my report, which he did, and it's a great report. And if there are questions, then obviously we'll take questions together like that.
You should ask for a grip sheet.
I would like to say, it's been quite a busy time recently. I know Councillor Lever has been to a number of meetings, with the LGR and things, and I'd just like to publicly say a big thank you to him for holding the reins whilst I was away for 2 to 3 weeks. So, thank you. And the rest of the report, I'll just take it as formally as read.
We do have some questions. The first question is from Councillor Howard Boo.
Thank you very much. Sorry. I'd like to thank the leader and his ghostwriter, particularly for the wonderful final paragraph of the report,
which refers to the Treasures exhibition at Museum Fastball. Perhaps I should declare an interest in that I'm the chair of the advisory board of the museum, and he urges members to see the exhibition, and I would like to repeat that. But I'd like to just ask if the leader and his ghostwriter are aware that there is a series of articles by luminaries, such as our MP, Ian, appearing in the North Devon Journal. I believe Ian Rooms appears tomorrow. And I'd like to ask the leader and his ghostwriter if they have a favourite object in the exhibition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I'm obviously not a luminary because I haven't been asked to do my favourite piece. But when I saw what my ghostwriter had written, I thought I'd better get down there and have a look at this exhibition. And it's a fantastic exhibition, very well put together, small, but well crafted, and it looks really good. I think I encourage anybody who's not been yet to go and have a look. And my ghostwriter and myself, I landed on Wednesday night and went down to have a look at it on Thursday before going down to the conference. So we have been. You asked what's my favourite one. There were a few things there actually, which were really, really good to look at. And reminded me of North Devon Council actually, because there's a huge jug there. The last time I saw a jug that size, Councillor Bearden was drinking out of it. And there's some fantastic spoons there. I thought there's enough spoons there for all the stirring that goes on behind North Devon Council's desk. But I suppose my favourite was the Rose Ash one. And maybe that's the history teacher coming out for me, because it was produced at a time when Jesus was there, 2,000 years ago, and it's in remarkable condition. Thin, bronze, and think that was used, and it was shaped and used. Just looking at it and reading the bump about it, apparently it was discovered when the mechanical digger was digging in that area, and it came out with all the sludge and things. And this thing was just glistening like gold there, still intact. So it's a phenomenal story, and to see it there, it's great. So I encourage anybody to get down there and have a look. It's a really good exhibition. Well done for you and your team for putting that on.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Wilson.
Thank you. I also want to thank Councillor Kane and Councillor Lee for that. Peter Lee for the report. I'm going to refer to the first paragraph, not the last one. It's just thank you for mentioning about the recent tensions in the community caused by flag displays and that kind of thing that we've all been aware of. And I just wanted to say it's, you know, I think it's really important, as we know that councils have a role to play in our communities in managing and de-escalating tensions. And just to also say that in October, it's Zero Tolerance to Hate Crime Week, and I'm just asking, putting it out there that as a council we can publicise that week, which is really important to increase awareness of the realities of hate crime, sadly, but also how to report it and what to do to combat it. So that would be my request of the council in October. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Wilson. Yeah, I fully agree with what you said, and just to reiterate what Councillor Leader says in that initial paragraph about the flag waving, there's nobody more patriotic than me when England are playing football. I get so worked up, I put in the room, I can't watch penalties, but I love seeing the flag being waved at the right times, shoving it on lampposts, writing things on floor. When you come to a crossing, is wrong. And there are certain people in this society who've taken over our flag, and we should all be watching it back. But for an England and a Great Britain that stands for all the right things, and to wave the flag proudly to say this flag is about tolerance, this flag is not about intolerance. And the more we can get that message out, and it's incumbent on us all to stand up and say that. And not be coward, because now the flag is being used as a source of intimidation by the far right, and there's nothing that inspired me to carry on in politics than trying to get rid of the far right and what they send in their vitriolic message of hate. It's all wrong, and we need to all stand up and say, no, that is wrong, let's reclaim the flag.
Councillor Reginald. You did put your hand up.
Yes, I did. I'm waiting for the mic.
Oh, right.
Sorry, I'm getting slow.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I was going to thank Peter Heaton for his report as well, but now I can thank you as well for what you just said, because I was going to release those first two paragraphs as well. There is an implied question here. I don't know quite how to phrase it. I hope yourself and your deputy, in fact, all my colleagues here and the council, can join us on October 4th, when there'll be a peaceful demonstration from the square to the library to stand up against racism and be there, hopefully, hand in hand with as many of my colleagues as possible. I think that will be a really powerful confirmation of what's written in that report, that there's much more that unites us than divides us, and we are stronger together.
I'll endeavour to get there.
Thank you. And obviously, of course,
Item 11, questions by members, we have received none. Item 12, lead members' reports, report by lead member for waste and recycling, which is attached. Are there any questions on that?
Chair, I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any questions.
Oh, Councillor, sorry.
Thank you. Sadly, the lead member can't be here today, so it's perhaps a question which she'll be able to report back afterwards. I was just wondering about how North Devon Council is doing, how we compare with similar authorities in terms of recycling rates and those sort of benchmarks, and I'd be interested to hear from the member a bit more about the plans to continue to improve our position with, in comparison with other similar authorities. Thank you.
Chair, I'm sure that the lead member will send you a written response if we've got that question. As far as the figures are concerned, as far as the rest of the country is concerned, we're in the certainly top half. But the rest of Devon, we're not doing as well as the rest of Devon. However, there are plans in place. We've got a great recycling group is set up, and I think that's a very top cross party. I wasn't at the last one, I was away, but I believe that's doing really good work, and that's why I wanted to set up, because there is a lot more to do, and we need to encourage as many residents in North Devon to look closely at how much recycling they do and do it. So if it comes down to individual responsibility, but the council can do more things for it. So I'll get a full written response from Councillor Hogan today.
Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, thank you very much for the report, and it's safe to say that in a couple of years now doing this, I've had 2 complaints about bins across Bronson, which I think is fantastic. I feel I need to say recycling and Tetra Packs. It's the one thing that we let ourselves down. And I know I raise this every single time, but we do let ourselves down when not being under. And I know there are logistical reasons, but it would be nice to know that Council Hunters constantly got that on her mind.
Councillor Mansell. Sorry, if you want to come back on that.
Just I shall remind Councillor Hunt what you said, and I know it has been foremost in her mind, and she's asked questions about it. But just as a side issue, as far as food waste, as you know, the government is insisting on it, but we are already doing it on the food waste side, and I think that there's more to be done there. So it's all, you know, for the betterment of recycling.
Councillor Maskell and Councillor Brown.
Thank you.
I was at the meeting, the last meeting, and I think we've had some really positive ideas on using social media. I think some of the councils are going to produce videos suggested actually videoing in the recycling pool to show the public just what happens to the recycling, because I think the perception is that it goes to landfill. So I think it'd be really good if they could see how brilliant it is in there. And I think on Tetra Packs, I think only the company that produces them has the ability to recycle them, I believe. So that's a big problem for the council all over the country. I would encourage people not to buy Tetra Packs and go for other alternatives. But I think, you know, I feel really positive about the campaign that we're sort of starting to build, and hopefully we can sort of get people behind what we're doing and believe in what we're doing. Thank you.
And Councillor Crouch.
Interesting report. Good news, pretty much all round. I wonder if there's anybody, I think this has been looked at, but I haven't heard anything about it lately, about what we can do to somehow keep the recycling in the containers. There was a little bit in Ilfracombe. This was reported to Town Council. I think they did a little bit, said that actually the majority of what they picked up had clearly come from a recycling container at some point. So there was a little bit mess once upon a time, wasn't there?
We actually have got this. I think was it 5,000 that they got, and councillors can ask for them. I know I was there in the offices the other day. I don't remember who was it was with me. But they came in, got them, so they're giving them out to people. So sorry.
Sorry, the user supply.
So I didn't quite catch it. Sorry, but I think it was.
I think we did a bit of a social media push
Right.
after one meeting. I think we literally, everyone in my area got one. But I don't think there was a lot more.
I know they were prioritising certain areas, and it's going back 2 or 3 years this, and they were prioritising those areas which are particularly windy and hilly, and where the stuff gets run all over the place. I think has made some improvements. I don't know what the latest is on whether we're going to get any more as well. I don't know. That's something we're excited to do.
Sorry, as somebody who uses one of those nets, I can say that they are actually really, really good at keeping the recycling in the bowl. Yeah. So, Councillor Davis.
So could you get Julie to say what's happening next?
Chairman, you taking the email questions down? Yeah, I shall make sure that all the questions get a full response from Councillor.
Thank you. I'm not going to stand here and say that waste and recycling is perfect, but I think it is very good, and I would just report on some good experiences over the last couple of weeks. It was great to see Mark Quintel looking down on the new data, the new system for separating articles, the increased capacity of the new system. That's nice to see, following sitting on the planning committee, seeing the plans go through and actually action taking place under our watch and improvements being made, which is great. Complaint made by a member of the public 1 week ago dealt with within that week. So within the time limit of escalating that, and it was a quick chat with Mark Quintel, picked up by Andy, and I thank the team. And every time they come to Chumley, they are a happy bunch of work people. So my felicitations to Waste and Recycling. Thank you.
Councillor Howard.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And just going back to Tetra Packs, to Councillor Bell's point, Tetra Packs will be compulsorily collected by Waste and Recycling by a government decree. I think it's in 2 years' time, and soft tissues, soft waste, soft plastics will be compulsorily collected in 1 year's time. And meanwhile, Tetra Packs can be recycled at the recycling centre at Seven Brethren. And for example, blister packs can be recycled at Boots and Superdry. I actually did suggest to the head of environmental enhancement that the excellent newsletter should carry details about these places to take items that aren't recycled from our bins, but are recycling or don't. And he said he would sort up on it and put it in the newsletter, so everyone has that information. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Petrino.
I just want to echo what Councillor Davis said about the speedy response to complaints for waste recycling generally and missed collections or whatever. But the one area that I still have concerns about is trade waste, which I see is being reviewed because there's, in my area anyway, that it's reached its capacity. So no additional businesses can get their trade waste recycled. The trade waste recycling is kind of a key bit of, I mean, I've had one business say they're thinking of closing down because they can't do it. So I just hope that this trade waste review is taken at pace because I can see that there might well be some additional expense involved if it means additional vehicles.
I know the trade waste issue was raised, Councillor Petrino, at our first meeting, wasn't it? I can't remember who was there for this one. And we are expecting a review shortly. We'll be able to discuss that in more detail then. I do share your concerns. Apologies for my phone going off. It wasn't, my phone switched off. I've got some tablets that is a reminder. I've forgotten to bring my tablets with this call. You have to look at it that way. So it's like, anyway.
Holiday music.
Councillor Fuller.
All I want to do is just congratulate North Devon Council on the standard of the teams they've got going out doing the work on a daily basis. No matter what the weather and everything, I've had a number of residents within my ward, and the rest of you have, congratulations on how helped they are, especially to people who have mobility issues and struggle with getting their waste down. I think we've got an excellent team. And I'd like to pass that on to the team, please.
Very good point, and I shall make sure, Councillor Fuller, that that is passed on to myself and the rest of the council, I'm sure, to the team.
Would it be so good under a unitary county, I wonder?
If we could move on, please. Item 13, the Q1 financial performance report. I'll pass over to John Trisky. Thank you.
Evening members, this report's gone through strategy and resources and policy development already, so I'm not going to go through the report in detail. The headline figure is Q1, we're reporting a small net budget surplus of £8,000, which is a positive variance against the budget. Details are shown in the report papers in Appendix A. The rest of the report, as I say, has already been through policy development, strategy and resources. And the chairs of those committees will present their recommendations shortly. So happy to take any questions if members have any.
Councillor Crane.
Thank you, John. Fully informed by the report, there's no doubt about that. There's plenty of information there. Are you content, there's my question, are you content that all the reserves, you can take on a hammer, if you add all the reserves, there's about 1.3 million sort of disappears or squeezed out in the middle somewhere. Okay, that's clearly not sustainable, but there's reasons for all those, I suppose, and you are content. That's the word I'm looking for, content and happy, that sort of thing.
Yes, when the budget is presented to you in February, one of the things I have to do is assure you of the level of the reserves that we have, which is what I do. You'll see in the report there are various reserves that are earmarked, and they're earmarked for specific things such as capital projects, so that's why there's money coming out of those reserves specifically for the purposes they're intended for. We did use some of the budget management reserve for part of setting the budget, but the medium-term financial plan is assuming that we're not using that budget management reserve next year. So general fund reserve and the reserves that in a sense pop up the budget are robust at a level that I'm comfortable with.
Okay, thank you. We've moved item 14 to after item 6.
Sorry, Chair.
Sorry, so can we have a movement for that one?
We need to get to Councillor Speed first.
Right.
13A.
Councillor Beekman, sorry.
Yeah, Chair, happy to move the recommendations in 13A.
Thank you. And councillor Clayton, please.
Happy to do as well. Oh,
And can I have a move for the report to note for from what councillor Caroline Lever, seconder, councillor Youssef, all those in favour? Against? Any abstentions? Thank you. I do apologise, my brain is everywhere tonight. Item 14 has been moved to after item 16 on the agenda, so we move to item 15, the independent remuneration panel. The report by Adam, please.
Thank you, Chair. This report is to make appointments to the independent remuneration panel who make recommendations on receiving member allowances. The recommendation of section 2 of the report is to reappoint Graham Russell and Brian Holden for a further 4-year period, and to appoint Don Pratt to the vacant post also for a 4-year period. Some of you will remember Don Pratt, who was an assistant director and monitoring officer for us for a number of years, as he'll bring a wealth of experience and knowledge to the role. Happy to take any questions, Jeff.
Chair, I'll move the recommendation.
Yeah. Councillor Beaver has already put his hand up, so councillor Krause,
I'm happy to second it.
and councillor Beaver second. All those in favour? Against? Any abstentions? Thank you very much. So we now move on to item 16, which is minutes of committees. Normally we would take these on block, but tonight we're doing it a little bit differently. We're taking the minutes of the Governance Committee held on the 22nd of September 2025, as there has been a proposed change to what was decided at the Governance Committee. So if I could have Councillor Peter Jones, please.
Can we amend the recommendation from the Governance Committee in relation to the membership of the chair of the policy committee? So we had a big debate in government, a good healthy debate, and I think it's clear that we need to take a look at that, but that needs a little bit of time. So we also request that this council commits to reviewing those commitments before the April AGM. So it's Governance 23 and recommendation D. Thank you, Chair.
Just for clarification, it's Annex 1, Part 3, Paragraph 2 of the Constitution to be updated. And Councillor Jones is asking to have that put as an item to be worked on between now and the AGM next year. So we have a seconder. Councillor Norman.
So I just, sorry, clarify who is going to. Before now, sorry, thank you, Chair. We propose that we're going to discuss it and clarify it before next full council. Do we need to discuss who and where?
It's the Governance Committee.
AGM.
It's.
That's that's
Yeah. Okay, so we have a proposal for that amendment and sorry.
Well, I was just going to clarify, whilst the results of that review might come to the AGM, we will need to work out a mechanism to carry out that review if you like. And it may well be that we look at taking some work through the Governance Committee or through a small working party to start with, and then take it to the Governance Committee. But the combination of that will be the review going to AGM. We don't have at the same time as the appointment of committees at that point. And just to clarify, I think Councillor Jones did move in the recommendations of the Governance Committee subject to the change in the outline. So we'll be voting on all the other recommendations as well.
Okay, so we can have a second of the amendment, Councillor Norman. All those in favour? Against? Any abstentions? That's carried, thank you. And if we can take the rest of the minutes off the block, can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Beeman, second to Councillor Maskell. All those in favour? Against? Any abstentions? Thank you very much. And we now move to item 14, which is a review of the committee seat allocation for 25-26. So I'll pass to Ken.
Thank you, Chair.
Not at the moment, no. Tell me what I do. Yeah, when we discuss the joint planning agency, okay, we can do that. Sorry.
Very appointing members. We're not discussing very appointing members.
Thank you, members. Sorry. Members will recall back at annual council appointing members and chairs to the various committees and looking at political balance at that point. Since then, we've had 2 by-elections, and also at the last special meeting, we agreed to appoint a special joint planning committee along with Torres District Council, which my members was to deal with the large-scale solar installation. So those changes prompt a fresh review of the political balance on the council, and as a result, we need to look again at membership of the committees and the chairs. That has been carried out, so under legislation set out in the report, that sets out a number of criteria that we need to look at, and the legislation says that we need to follow that as far as reasonably practical, and that's what we have done in coming up with the political balance set out on table 1. But as always, it doesn't quite work out exactly right, and so there has been some discussions amongst group leaders as to what the allocation should be, reflecting the requirements in the legislation, and that is set out in table 1A. Table 2 sets out the reserve list for the planning committee, which you need to reaffirm tonight. Table 3 then sets out the individuals who will sit on all of those committees, and then table 4, the last table, sets out the recommendations in relation to the chairs and vice chairs of those committees. Those are the recommendations, members. I'm more than happy to try and clarify anything if I can. And just in relation to the question regarding interests, quick confer with Montremosser, we don't think you have an interest in setting the membership or the chairs of those particular committees. Yeah. Okay. I was going to have a bit of a limb there, but I'm just concerned. So those are the recommendations, members. I can clarify, but the recommendations are set out in 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3.
Does anybody have any questions? Councillor Clayton.
Thank you, Chair. Bit awkward really, because I don't want to embarrass anybody. But obviously, Councillor Spear has been ill and she's recovering, but I think her name tag is down on the planning, and because I'm a joint one, and because of health issues, she has to go to training, and I think you could then ask with her agreement, I think, to come off that, and we'll just try and fit in where we can with substitutes. Is that okay? Apologies for being a bit late, but I just thought it's been formalised today, but I better mention it.
Really appreciate that, Councillor Clayton. If you wish to proceed by way of substitution, then probably the best approach is that Councillor Spear is allocated a seat on those committees, and then in her absence, she can appoint a substitute. Other than that, it's a case of Councillor Spear and off the committee, and us tonight appointing somebody in her stead.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
Sorry. Can I just say thank you to the leaders of every paper and to Paul. We've been able to agree to swap a few places around to meet people's priorities, really. So it's worked out really well. I do need to mention
three substitutes in for planning, which would be Councillor Wilson Milton and Councillor Denton. And we're in a similar situation with Neil Denton. He's not very well at the moment, so I was going to suggest that in the meantime, I'd sit in on the building control working party with Mid Devon, make sure that we've got a reasonable complement there. But hopefully, when he's better, he can come back and take that seat from me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Price. I think that would be acceptable. Yeah, that would be absolutely acceptable. Thank you. Again, we wish Councillor Benson every good wishes in his hopefully his recovery. Yeah, is there any more questions for him? No. No, lovely. Can propose, please. Councillor Norman, seconded by Councillor Bell. Thank you. All those in favour? All those against? Any abstentions? No, thank you. That is carried. Thank you very much. And thank you for your help.